Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping ahead to 2030 to tackle one of the biggest questions out there, the future of work. What will our jobs, our careers, our offices actually look like in just a few years? Well, let's dive in and find out.
All right, so first things first. Ever since 2020 kicked off this massive work from home experiment, the headlines have been nonstop. They've been predicting the death of the office, right? But it's time we separated the hype from what's really happening. And this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? We've all heard the talk, that whole sectors of the economy, gone, just completely remote, no headquarters, nothing. But is that really where things are headed?
So the short answer, nope. The idea that entire industries are just gonna pack up and go fully remote is, well, it's mostly a misconception. The reality, when you look at the research, is actually way more nuanced, and honestly, a lot more interesting.
Okay, so here's the absolute key. You have to get this one thing.
The real revolution?
It isn't happening to whole industries. It's happening to specific jobs. So we need to stop thinking about remote industries and start thinking about remote capable jobs. And believe me, that one little shift in perspective changes everything. To really get what's going on, you've got to understand this concept from the World Economic Forum. They call them global digital jobs. And it's pretty simple, really. It's any role where literally every single task involved can be done from anywhere. It's not about the company you work for, it's about the work you actually do. And the number of these jobs? It's absolutely exploding. By 2030, we're projected to have around 92 million of these global digital jobs. To put that in perspective, that's a massive 25% jump from where we are right now.
And this table just illustrates the point perfectly. Take an industry like finance, for example. You've got tons of remote-friendly roles, right? Financial analysts, risk specialists, HR folks, but you still need people on site like branch managers or certain high-frequency traders. So you see, the industry itself isn't fully remote, but a huge number of jobs within it are.
And check this out. When you break down what these jobs are, you see a really clear pattern. Look at that. A whopping 40% fall into buckets like accounting, legal, and finance. Then you've got big chunks for IT and customer service. This just proves the shift is happening across a whole range of digital work. So you might be wondering, what's behind this incredible growth? What's fueling this fire? Well, it's not just one thing. It's really a powerful 1-2 punch of incredible technology and just plain smart business strategy. Let's talk tech. You can think of it like building blocks. At the bottom, you have the foundation, things like cloud computing and super fast internet, like 5G and 6G. Then you layer on AI and automation tools to make everything more efficient. And the next frontier? Well, that's immersive stuff like VR and AR, creating a collaboration experience that feels like you're actually there. But look, it's not just about cool gadgets. There are some really powerful business reasons for this. Companies can now hire the absolute best person for the job, no matter where they live. And the cost savings? They're staggering. We're talking an average of $11,000 per employee per year. That's a massive competitive advantage right there. But of course, a change this big is never easy. It's not all smooth sailing. There are some serious complications, some very real challenges that everyone, from CEOs to new hires, is trying to figure out. Let's talk about productivity. This is where it gets really interesting because we have what you could call a paradox. On one hand, you have 94%, almost all employers, saying that productivity is the same or even better. But on the other hand, some very specific studies have found that fully remote work can sometimes lead to a 10% dip. It just goes to show how tricky this stuff is to measure. And all this leads to what some are calling a policy tug of war. You've got this small but very loud group of CEOs who want everyone back in the office 5 days a week, no exceptions. But that flies directly in the face of what employees overwhelmingly want, which is flexibility. And if companies ignore that, they risk losing their best people. It's that simple. When it comes right down to it, the biggest challenges here aren't really about technology. They're about people. How do you keep a company culture alive when people aren't together? How do you prevent burnout and isolation? And what about this new thing called techno-stress, that feeling of being always on? These are the really tough questions that leaders are wrestling with right now. So when you take all the powerful forces pushing this forward and you weigh them against these very human challenges, a clear solution starts to come into focus. It's not one extreme or the other. It's a flexible, hybrid model that tries to give us the best of both worlds. And the numbers on this? Wow, they're not even close. This isn't a 50-50 split. A massive 72% of people say they want a hybrid model. The folks who want to be in the office all the time or at home all the time, they're a pretty small minority.
The overwhelming winner here is balance. And this leads to a really profound shift in what the office even is. It's not the default place you go every day just to sit at a desk anymore. Instead, it's becoming a destination, a place you go for a specific purpose, like a big team brainstorm or a company-wide event. Leaders now have to actually earn the commute by making that time in the office truly valuable. I love this quote from Deloitte because I think it just nails the mindset we need. Success in this new world isn't about finding one perfect, rigid policy and then carving it in stone. It's about being dynamic, about being agile, and about learning to navigate the constant changes. And that really leaves us with one final thought to chew on. This future isn't something that's just going to happen to us. It's something we have to actively build. And it's going to demand a really proactive, human-first approach. Because in this new world of work, the people and the companies who really thrive will be the